Today, my friends, we are doing a baked macaroni and cheese. Let's get started. So these are the ingredients that we're gonna need to make the macaroni and cheese today. We have about 500-gram package of bacon that we've pre-cooked, cooked off here, ready to go. I have 1 stick of butter. I have about 60 grams of black garlic sheep cheese. You could use Parmigiano Reggiano if you'd prefer, something like that. I got 2 cloves of garlic, a couple sprigs of thyme, about a tablespoon of smoked paprika, 70 grams of flour. I got some bacon fat that I saved from the bacon. I have 100 grams of panko breadcrumbs here. I have about a half onion, red onion chopped that I just had left over that I'm going to use. I have 600 grams total of cheese here. I've got 200 grams of cheddar, 200 grams of Havarti, and you could use any type of cheese you want. You could use some jalapeno Havarti if you want to give it some spice, or some smoked cheddar if you want to give it a bit more smoky flavor. And then I got another 200 grams of mozzarella. We got some chicken stock, some cream. We're probably going to use about half a liter of each, couple cups, I guess, and 400 grams of rigatoni that we're just going to get in the water right now since it's ready to go. We got our pasta in the water. We'll just keep an eye on that. We don't want it to cook too fast, and we'll strain it out. Probably keep some of the pasta water just in case you need to dilute the Mornay sauce that we're gonna make. So let's start with the Mornay sauce. I got a pot here heating up right now. I'm just gonna put some of that bacon fat into there, probably about a couple tablespoons, and our butter. While we're waiting for that to heat up and melt, I'm just gonna chop up this garlic here. And then once we're done that, we can get our garlic and our onions into our butter and bacon fat. If you prefer more garlic, put more garlic. This is one of those recipes, a casserole, where you can change a little things up just to make it more to your liking. Don't forget to stir your pasta. So we're gonna get our onion and our garlic into the butter. And this is more flavoring for just our cream sauce. So if you prefer different stuff, I mean, by all means, go ahead and put whatever you want in there. We're just gonna cook this until we have a little bit of color on there, a little bit of brown, and the onions have been sweated out. I know this seems like a lot of butter, but this is going to be our bechamel or Mornay sauce. So we're starting to get some color on our garlic. Starting to turn a little bit brown. So we're just gonna put our flour in there. We're gonna get this mixed up into a roux, which is what's gonna thicken our Mornay sauce. Slowly stir in some chicken stock, a little bit at a time, and just mix that up, just so we don't get any lumps. A little bit more. If you do it a little bit at a time like this, and make sure you mix it up in between, you'll get it really nice and smooth. You'll have that perfect velvety texture for your Mornay sauce. Okay, so we're at about half a liter of chicken stock in there right now. Just gonna start adding some of this heavy cream. Then we're gonna add about 2 cups of milk. I'm just gonna turn that down a little so it doesn't burn. And we're just gonna let this come almost to a boil and start to thicken. We don't wanna really boil it, but just at the point where it's starting to. In the meantime, don't forget to stir or check your pasta. Perfect al dente. I just wanna save some of that pasta water in case I need to thin out some of this cream sauce. It's a good way to do it. Or you could do that with milk or chicken stock as well. You're gonna wanna make sure you stir your Mornay sauce or your bechamel at this point often. You don't want it to burn to the bottom of the pot. If it even burns a little bit, it's gonna make the whole thing taste like burnt. It's gonna be gross. In the meantime, we can start adding a little bit of seasoning. We're definitely gonna need some salt and pepper. And again, I said it once, so I'll say it again, I love black pepper. It's so good. Don't put too much salt in there yet. We're gonna add our cheese. That's gonna be a bit salty, and then we're gonna taste it before we use it, and just add a bit of salt if we need to at that point. We can adjust then. So as you can see, our bechamel right here is just starting to come to a boil. We don't want it to start boiling vigorously, so we're just gonna keep stirring it at this point. And this is when it's really gonna start to thicken up. Now, depending on how thick you want your macaroni and cheese to turn out is going to determine how thick you want your bechamel sauce to get before you take it off the heat and combine everything in your casserole dish and get it in the oven. I like it to be thick so it's encasing the noodles, but I also don't like it to be just a solid mass of constipation. You know what I mean? So for me, this is about a really good consistency. After it cooks in the oven, it's also going to thicken up in there, and I think that's going to be good. So I'm not going to need to use any of the pasta water. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start getting my cheese in there, and we're going to see how much it thickens up, and then we'll taste it for our seasoning levels, and then we'll get it put in with the macaroni and the bacon in our casserole dish, top it with some cheese, and put it in the oven. So let's start with putting most of this cheese in here. Now, I did grate the cheese up just so it can obviously melt into the sauce a bit easier and a bit better. We're just going to get that in there and stir that up. And this is what's going to make our cheese sauce, or Mornay sauce if you prefer. Don't forget to save some of the cheese for the top of the macaroni and cheese. That was delicious. Just added a tiny little bit more salt and pepper to that and it's perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and put my bacon in there now. Get that mixed up. Now we're going to get our pasta in the dish. You could also, if you prefer, you could put the pasta right in the pot and mix it up in there. I think it's just going to be easier to pour the sauce out of this pot though if I do it this way. I'm going to cover this in our sauce and just make sure that's mixed in there very well. Get all those noodles coated. Make sure to drop one on the floor for your pet cat or dog. Everyone will believe that.
Especially make sure to do that with chocolate in it.
That's right. Trust me, your pet loves chocolate. Okay, so now we have our pasta and our marinade sauce mixed together in our dish. So I'm just going to put a little bit of thyme, get the rest of our cheese, because we're going to bake this in the oven. Make sure you get that spread out nice and evenly. Make sure you get the sides and the corners and stuff. And I'm just going to grate some of this beautiful cheese I have here on top. Smoked paprika. And we're just going to get some of this panko breadcrumb on top. I guess I have way more than I need in here. I wasn't really sure about that one. I'd say in total we used about a 1/4 cup of the panko breadcrumbs. And we're going to put this in our oven. I have it at 425 degrees just because all the ingredients right now are hot from the fact that we just cooked them. If you wanted to cool this and store it before you cooked it, you could cook it at a lower temperature or longer just so it works out well. But for us, this is going to be perfect. It's going to brown the top and get everything nice and golden and delicious and melt that cheese on top and not overcook anything inside. Now we have nothing to do but wait, so we'll play with the cat. Okay, so it's been about 30 minutes since we put that in the oven. I just had a look at it and it's looking pretty good. So we're going to take that out. We're just going to let that rest. We're going to let that rest for probably about 15 minutes or so, 10-15 minutes anyway. Hopefully the sauce will cool down enough and start setting and we can cut a slice out and give it a try. See you in a bit. Here it is. All right, that's it.